Hello viewers, today I am here with yet another presentation on Riders to the Sea, a one-act tragedy written by John Millington Synge. This is Professor Shibani Basu Dubey, Professor and Head Department of English at the Bhopal School of Social Sciences. Now this particular play, Riders to the Sea, it is basically a tragedy. The title doesn't suggest so, but yes, it has inherent meanings of sorrowness, sadness and death in the play. It is a gloomy play by Irish playwright J.M. Synge. He is an Irish literary Renaissance playwright. The play was first performed in 1904 at Dublin. The plot is based not on the traditional conflict of human wills, but it is based on the helplessness and hopelessness that man suffers against impersonal but relentless cruelty of the sea as well, adds to the gloominess of this play. The play is about the death and danger to life at sea, and how the family has to cope with the loss of the loved ones who have drowned in the sea over a period of time. The settings of the play is Aran Islands, which is on the west coast of Ireland. It is a place which is full of peasants and fishers from Irish folk. It has full of references of Irish culture as well. Now, to talk about a little to the background of this play, that J.M. Synge was actually encouraged by his friend and colleague William Butler Yeats to visit these islands, that is the Aran Islands. He went on to spend the summers there, and that is how he could witness so much about nature-man interaction in the entire play. John Millington Synge, a short biographical detail about him. Born on 1871, he was an Irish dramatist. At 18 years of age, he lost religious faith, and this particular incident of his delusion, of his dilemma regarding religion has found a place in the portrayal of characters in the said play. He became agnostic, died in 1909 at the age of 38. He didn't live long, but the tragedy of human life, the human predicaments which he has portrayed in his works, they have a far-reaching impact. Now, if we look at the novels composed by him, In the Shadow of the Glen, 1903, Riders to the Sea, 1904, The Playboy of the Western World, which became a very controversial novel of the time, published in 1907. Poems and Translations, 1909. And since he had lived in the Aran Island, composed this play, Riders to the Sea, he has written a separate prose piece describing the Irish culture depicted in the lives of the peasants and fishermen living in the Aran Islands. Now, to introduce the play to you, Riders to the Sea, written by John Millington Synge. It is a one-act tragedy. Please remember it. It's a very short play as against the traditional Greek or British dramas which had 5 acts and further bifurcated into scenes. This is a one-act play. The setting is Aran Islands, scene an island off the west of Ireland. And this play was first performed in 1904 at Molesworth Hall in Dublin. Now, if we introduce the characters who are involved in this story, Riders to the Sea, the dramatis persona go as follows. Maurya, an old woman who has lost her 6 sons to the sea. She is a grief-stricken widow and a mother of 8 children, 2 daughters and 6 sons. Bartley, he is the youngest of Maurya's sons, who is presently going to the sea as the play begins. We have Kathleen, the elder daughter of Maurya, Nora, the younger daughter of Maurya, and these are the 5 deceased sons of Maurya: Sean, Seamus, Stephen, Patch and Michael, whom Maurya had recently lost. Then there is a young priest, townspeople and other men and women. If we narrate the story of this play, it can be picturized as follows. As you can see on the slide, this is a typical occupation of the fishermen living in Aran Islands, that they go for fishing in the sea, trying to bear through the wave, trying to wade through the wave. Whether they come back alive or not, that remains a mystery, that remains a question, because that is, fishing is their sole livelihood. The dramatic narrative focuses on an island cottage off the coast of Ireland, where 3 women, and who are these 3 women? Maurya, Kathleen and Nora, are found waiting for some news. Maurya, the grieving mother, is resting in an inner room. Her daughters, Kathleen and Nora, work on household tasks. The scene is that Michael, their brother, has been missing for days. We learn from Nora, Michael is only the latest of Maurya's son to be lost to the sea, that has also taken away her husband. Kathleen and Nora identify a drowned man's clothes, which is shown to them by the young priest as Michael's, but hesitates to disclose the truth to their mother in case she is not able to bear yet another tragic news of yet another of her son's death. Their only surviving brother, Bartley, enters the cottage to announce that night he will be sailing. So we see that Bartley is about to initiate yet another voyage, and the apprehension which is being felt by the 3 ladies in the household, that actually builds the trepidation. Bartley is determined to sell the horse in a fair at Connemara despite the bad weather. Now, why is Bartley ready to take up this voyage? Because he wants to do a small business which indulges the selling of a horse at a fair. And we are informed, the audience is informed, that the weather is really bad that day. Maurya is anxious, asking him, what is the price of 1,000 horses against a son where there is only 1 left? Now see the implications of this very question put forth by the mother to her only surviving son, that she is ready to sacrifice the prices of 1,000 horses just to keep her son safe. Bartley, however, continues to prepare for his journey. When he leaves, Maurya will not give him her blessings because he goes against the wishes of her mother. Kathleen and Nora, the 2 sisters, are both distressed in the wake of Bartley's departure. Maurya's sending him off in anger is thought to be unlucky. Further, they have forgotten to give him the cake. Now, there are these 2 ominous signs, the bad omens, that the mother, Maurya, does not bid a proper goodbye to her son, neither provides him with her blessings. Further, the three of them have forgotten to put the cake as his tiffin. And these two symbols are taken as if they are very bad omens, which is going to succeed the further action of the play. They manage to convince their mother to go to meet Bartley to give him the cake and her blessings. Now, Catherine and Nora, the two sisters, they somehow convince their mother that please go and bless your son so that he comes back home safe. On her return, Maurya remains greatly distressed. What is the reason of her distress? She met Bartley but could not give him her blessings as he passed with the family's two horses. She could not actually meet him. And further, she saw the ghost of his brother Michael chasing him. This is a premonition which the mother has, that the ghost of the earlier dead son of Maurya, Michael, is apparently witnessed or visualized by Maurya to be chasing Bartley. Whether it is a hallucination, whether it is a premonition on the part of the mother, whether it is an anticipation because of the sixth sense of the mother, that hasn't been described clearly by the writer. But at this juncture of the play, we already get a clue that something tragic is bound to happen. Maurya, Kathleen and Nora are all convinced that this is a portent, that is, the visualizing of Maurya that Michael, her dead son, is chasing Bartley while he is going for his journey into the sea. Kathleen cries out, "It has destroyed, we are all from this day." And she says that this is apparently the doomsday and we are going to be destroyed by this. Shortly after Maurya herself returns, a noise of weeping by the seashore is heard. On stage, we see that Maurya returns, but there is a noise which encompasses weeping is heard at the seashore. The women half expected to be Michael's body washed up at last. Remember, Michael had been missing for so many days and the clothes of Michael had been handed over to them by the priest. The body brought in, however, is Bartley's. Now look at the irony. They all knew it very well that Michael is dead and they were just waiting for the dead body of Michael. In its place, the dead body of Bartley, who had recently gone into the sea for a journey. His body is brought forth. Maurya greets this with bleak resignation. Now look at the term resignation. She resigns, she submits, she surrenders completely unto her fate, saying, "They are all together this time and the end is come." She tries to be hopeful, she tries to be happy, she tries to be resilient at this point that all of her 6 sons are together united now in the kingdom of God. The mother's emotions come to the surface at this point when we see Maurya resigning bleakly in spite of her prayers, in spite of her wishes that her 6th son also is dead, and she builds her resilience further, surrendering to the fate that she has to now live the life of a widow and a motherless and a childless mother along with her 2 daughters for the rest of her life. And she is happy with the aspect that all of her 6 sons along with their father, they are united and the family has become complete, partially probably in the other world. The play begins with the 2 sisters discussing about the death of Michael, who is one of their brothers. The sisters have come across a bundle of clothes to confirm the identity of Michael, whose body has been washed upon the shore in Donegal. Mother does not know about the bundle and is very concerned about Michael's disappearance past 6 days. She is also very upset at Bartley's leaving, since the sea is very rough on that particular day. But Bartley is adamant, and he is supported by Kathleen and Nora. Kathleen and Nora, they have identified the clothing as that of Michael's, which have been handed over to them by the priest, and they mourn over the death of their brother. News of Bartley's death also arrive, followed by his body. Maurya is told of Michael's death and his soul shaken. Now, we see in the entire play, there is not a single moment of joy, of happiness, except for that last statement of Maurya when she says that probably all her 6 sons along with their father, they have been united in the other world, as she plans to struggle further in her existence in this world. The themes which can be identified in this play by Synge, it is conflict between the youthful spirit of adventure, which is reflected with the persona of Bartley, and the wisdom of age and experience. She knows that the sea is very harsh today. She doesn't want, as a mother, for her son to venture into a journey in these harsh conditions of the sea. Probably she knows that nature remains all-powerful. Now, the power or potency of nature which is shown here, it is a very, very pagan aspect. In all pagan world, nature is treated as the almighty, as the omnipotent. Choice between the life of binding and that of living freely. This is another theme. Bartley here seems to be taking a free will, choosing a free will, not paying heed to the suggestions, to the advice of his mother, which he finds as a life to be binding. I would like to further add here that Bartley, does he go out of his free will, or is he pushed to go into this voyage, into this journey, because of the financial constraints imposed on him by the society? That is something we need to think about. Death, the 7 deaths which the audience is informed of, the death of Maurya's husband and the death of her 6 sons, out of which the audience had been a witness to Michael's death and to Bartley's death. The 7 deaths perhaps reiterates the fact that death remains the ultimate reality. It is as inevitable as ever, and no one can escape death. Philosophical acceptance of death and destiny as an inevitable truth is highlighted in the play. The minuteness of human entity against vastness of sea and nature. Human beings are again depicted as helpless in front of the wrath of nature. Nature once again takes its forefront in this play and tries to prove that in spite of all the developments man-made, we still have to surrender to nature at all times. Now, this probably has connotations to eco-criticism, which can be further traced throughout the play, because the way Aran Islands has been described by Synge, that shows the, what should I say, the uniqueness of nature there, the originality of nature, which remains untarnished even with human interference, and it overpowers human existence in Aran Islands. From religious perspective, Catholicism versus Celtic paganism. As I said, that nature's wrath, nature's power, nature's might is a very, very pagan concept as against Catholicism, which talks of omnipotence of God. Christianity here emerges as a new religion, as we see with the involvement of that young priest who hands over the clothings of Michael to Kathleen and Nora, as if Christianity has just entered into the island and people are just exploring that religion. The omnipotence and omnipresence of the sea, and it also talks of tradition versus modernity. Now, tradition is the fishermen of Aran Island, they have to get into the sea in order to earn a livelihood for themselves. Bartley, as against fishing, he opts for a profession. He goes to sell his horses to earn a livelihood. He wants to enter into the modern avenues of earning a livelihood for himself. And here is the point where tradition and modernity come in direct conflict with each other. The gender roles throughout the play, we see hints that man is apparently the breadwinner of the family. And Maurya had been too dependent on her sons to run the family, because the gender roles are identified as Kathleen and Nora doing the household chores, whereas Michael and Bartley, they are supposed to be going to the sea, facing the sea, indulging with sea to earn a livelihood for themselves. So the wrath of nature is also being witnessed by the masculine folk in the society as against the feminine who are leading a little sheltered life within the indoors of their houses. The questions, what is the importance of the title? Discuss the play as a living presence in the play. Discuss the sea as a living presence in the play. Now, sea has emerged as a motif in the play. It is woven throughout the fabric of the play, depicting the importance, significance, power, wrath and surrender to sea. The dramatic irony in the play with reference to prophetic dialogues and incidences. The Catholicism talks of surrendering to God, that God is the one who will lead the way to the other world. But here the medium becomes the sea, and that becomes the dramatic irony. The next is, how does the play highlight the predicament of human destiny? The mother's prayers, the sister's prayers, perhaps the characters themselves, they pray, but ultimately they have to surrender to destiny, and the two sons, Michael and Bartley, they are shown to be embracing death at the end of the play, thus bringing the death toll to 7 in the life of Maurya, who remains the tragic mother throughout the play. So, James Synge, he is a part of the Celtic group of Irish playwrights, and probably because he believed in reviving the Irish culture and folklore, he has made a setting of his play as Aran Islands, which remains a little isolated from the scientific developments and the progress made by human society. His plays are realistic and modern in their depiction of life situations. Definitely, Riders to the Sea is a very, very realistic play. And J.M. Synge has done justice to this play by showing the various facets of the characters, by showing the various explicit and implicit themes in the play, by bringing nature and man into direct conflict with each other, which is one reason which provides to the building up of the entire plot of the story. We know that the other famous works by James Synge are The Playboy of the Western World, and as I mentioned earlier, it is one of the very controversial plays written by J.M. Synge. So, Riders to the Sea, it remains a tragedy of the mother, Maurya, and the death of her 6 sons along with her husband. But fortunately or unfortunately, Maurya has built the resilience in herself. She still is able to find a ray of hope with the final statement that all her sons are together now. And that perhaps is the hopeful ray in the entire tragedy, Riders to the Sea. Thank you so much.